This driver was about to face the most shocking moment of his life. Felipe Massa was starting from P1. Winning this race would have given him a significant advantage, as he was fighting for the championship, which, turns out, was already pretty tight. Things were going his way. Massa got a good start and even made a decent lead at the front. But just as he was about to win, chaos.
Oh, big crash! That's Nelson Piquet. It's a difficult place to recover a car.
Now, even though nobody was hurt, this incident changed everything. Almost all drivers rushed to get a cheap pit stop, and since everybody was coming into the pits, you can imagine how chaotic that must be. But things are only going to get more and more shocking from here, especially the #1 moment of this video. But now for Massa, the situation was not good, not at all. He still had to pit, and this was the only good opportunity he had. The stakes were as high as they can be. If he wanted to win the championship, he had to win this race. And since only 3 more races were left after this, he cannot afford to have any mistakes. So everything had to go perfectly for Massa. But that didn't happen, because when he came into the pits, disaster.
Then the mechanic at the front said green to go.
Oh no! That's a big mistake! Massa's gone!
Now, even though no one got hurt, still the damage was already done. Not only did Massa lose the lead, but also finished P13, which meant he didn't score even 1 point. And even though it wasn't technically Massa's fault, but a problem with Ferrari's pit release system, he still suffered the biggest disappointment. Massa lost the championship. In the last race, Lewis Hamilton took the title by getting just 1 point ahead of Massa. Man, losing the title just because of one mistake, that's gotta hurt. But guys, these moments will get only more shocking from here, especially the #1 moment, where this driver almost lost his life. But first, you gotta check out the huge fight that happened between these two teammates. Mark Webber was racing well, he made all the right moves, and even managed to fend off the quick McLarens, especially Lewis Hamilton, who even tried to overtake for the lead. But somehow, Webber managed to stay on top. Things were in Mark's favour. He was about to win the race, but then there comes a big problem. Sebastian Vettel.
Here comes Sebastian Vettel!
He's done it again.
Since Vettel was running P2, and given the great champion he is, he wanted to fight for the win as well. This made things complicated. 2 RBs fighting for the win, but as complicated as that was, one thing was absolutely clear. This race win had to go to Red Bull, because either way, getting both 1-2 positions here would put them sufficiently in front of the Constructors' Championship. So, clearly things had to go well for the Bulls, as they cannot afford to have any mistakes.
To tail all the way, these 4, well out on their own, 24 away.
Oh, did it come together? Webber and Vettel have come together!
This changed everything. Vettel retired.
What the f*** are we doing here? What a stupid action! I'm going home!
And Webber lost the lead as well. But guys, what was even worse was that Red Bull lost the race, and that to none other than the McLarens, their biggest rivals. This result meant that not only did McLaren get the 1-2 race finish, but also managed to take the lead in the Constructors' Championship as well. Who do you think was at fault there? Webber or Vettel? Both of them kept blaming each other, even after the race. But now, this is where it got interesting. Even though a lot of fans said it was Vettel's fault, Dr. Marco, Red Bull's chief advisor, said it was actually the other way around.
He was already ahead. He was at least 2 meters ahead, Sebastian. He knows what happens, you know.
To your mind, it's certainly Mark's fault.
Unnecessary, the whole situation.
This started the end of Webber's relations with Red Bull. He even later revealed, the day before that happened, I got wind that matters might be conspiring against me. Webber was allegedly talking about the team favouring Vettel over him. So, seeing that things might not be completely fair, Webber wrote a long letter directly to Red Bull's owner, Dietrich Mateschitz, telling him about this incident and how it had been handled. He told Mateschitz, basically conveyed his disappointment, that there was a lack of team spirit. But in the end, instead of this helping Webber, it turns out this made things even worse for him. Allegedly, this move left Red Bull's team principal, Christian Horner, fuming, since Webber had gone over his head to talk to the owner. So yeah, all in all, not a good time for Webber, unfortunately. But the most unfortunate thing of this video happened in the world's longest race, Le Mans. And I have to admit, it really shocked me. 24 hours of Le Mans, the greatest endurance race in the world. It's so famous that any team who wins here becomes immortal. Only few car companies like Audi, Ferrari, etc. have made history here, but there was one team who definitely deserved to be in that list, Toyota. Even though Toyota has now gotten several Le Mans wins, there was a time when Toyota remained winless for more than 2 decades. And that too, just because of many bad luck moments. The team had experienced countless race disasters. This even gave them the nickname Toyota the Cursed. So almost everybody thought Toyota and Le Mans never going to happen. But in 2012, things changed. After leaving Le Mans for a decade, Toyota came back, but this time with an even more competitive car. All throughout the weekend, Toyota remained near the top of the table, which meant once again they got a shot to make history. Nobody was really expecting them to win due to their curse, but for some reason, this time it felt different. People had high hopes for Toyota, especially Toyota themselves. Audi was leading the pack at the race start, but Toyota was definitely right behind them, and since both the teams were strong, they started competing right from the beginning. Things were going well. Both the Toyotas were fighting at the front, and since they remained closely behind Audi, even after all those laps, things started to look even better for Toyota. Maybe this time they won't have any issues with the car. No more bad luck moments. And finally, after all those years, Toyota's going to have an error-free race. But by the 5-hour mark, out of nowhere, disaster. Even though it was a big incident, luckily both the drivers were fine. But still, the damage was already done.
Such a dramatic... We have a safety car, the first here. We've had...
Car number 8, Toyota, was out of the race. And that too, no fault of their own. It looked like the Ferrari driver turned into the back of the Toyota, as if he didn't see that Toyota at all. And by the way, Toyota wasn't even racing that Ferrari. He was just lapping him. So even 10 years later, Toyota couldn't catch a break. Now that gotta hurt. But now, out of all the moments shown earlier, here's the moment that shocked the entire world of racing. Michael Schumacher was aiming for his first F1 championship. Throughout the year, he drove brilliantly, and he even won most of the races. But turns out, that still didn't mean he was going to win the title. He still had a big challenge in front of him, Damon Hill. Just like Schumacher, Hill also drove brilliantly that year. In fact, some fans even say that it was the best racing year of his career. So all in all, things were pretty close between the two. But in the end, it got so close that the championship battle had to go down to the last race of the season, the Australian Grand Prix. And before that last race, the difference between the two was only 1 point. So I guess you can imagine how important that race was for both of them. Both Michael and Damon had a great start. They started competing right from the beginning, but it was Michael who was leading. He was also the driver who was 1 point ahead in the championship, so all he has to do was to finish in front of his Damon Hill. But not so fast, said Mr. Hill. Damon Hill was right behind Michael almost the entire race. They raced close throughout, even through the first fuel stops. So clearly, it was game on. But still, Schumacher was ahead. And like always, it looked like he was controlling the lead very comfortably. So things were going his way. But then suddenly, he made a mistake.
That looks, Schumacher's off. Schumacher's lost time. Schumacher going into the wall. That was a desperate manoeuvre.
Schumacher cannot afford to lose the lead from Hill, who, like before, is still racing right behind Michael. But that mistake changed the entire game. And since there was only 1 point difference, whoever finishes ahead will win the championship. And so, right after Schumacher joined the track again, Hill got even closer to Schumacher. But this time, he got so close that he was about to overtake Michael. And he even got a great place to do it. The next turn, he can take the inside line, overtake, and that'll be that. Damon Hill will take the lead and become world champion. So, what happened when they went through that turn?
Oh! Out goes Schumacher! Schumacher gets underneath the protective barrier.
Since both Schumacher and Hill retired from the race, Schumacher won the championship by that same 1 point.
It's a bit of an empty feeling, but I think I gave him a good run for his money. It's over now, and
we all know that Schumacher is a legend, probably even the greatest of all time, but this was not right. That incident should never have happened. But wait, things got even more interesting after that. Now, we all know what happened there, right?
That was a desperate manoeuvre by Schumacher to stop Damon Hill winning the championship.
But still, for some reason, Williams, Damon Hill's team, did not protest this decision. Everybody just went ahead with it. I mean, it was totally bizarre. Why wouldn't anyone protest this? Nobody knew why. But then after some time, Sir Patrick Head, Williams' technical director, finally said, "I don't think I feel totally aggrieved, because with the fact that Michael was banned from driving for 3 races, disqualified in Belgium and banned in Italy and Portugal, all of which Damon won, I don't think I'd have felt totally happy with winning the championship in that year." Well, when you see it like that, I guess it makes sense. At least a little. But you know what doesn't make any sense? This driver doing ridiculous things to his car, all the time when another driver made a grown man cry. So, to check out these funniest racing moments, just click right here.